My name is Shainen Davidson. I was born and raised in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. My high school was Lisgar Collegiate Institute. And then after that, I went to university. Originally, I spent a year at Frasier University, which is in British Columbia, and then finished out my undergraduate degree at Carleton University back here in Ottawa. I got a master's in physics at Carleton, then I got a master's in philosophy of physics at Oxford, and now I'm currently doing Ph.D. studies at Boston University in physics, specifically in theoretical particle physics. When I was doing my master's studies in Carleton in Ottawa, the way I really found out about where I wanted to apply for my PhD was just talking to my supervisor, professors, and other graduate students. And in general, because they had, would read papers, would know where people were doing interesting stuff. In fact, Boston University was suggested by a colleague of mine doing her PhD at Carleton. She said, well, she'd heard that she'd read interesting papers that had come from that university and said, hey, this would be an interesting place to continue studying this kind of stuff. The application procedure is very similar to how you apply in Canada, with one difference. To apply to the U.S., you need to take the GRE, and so you have to take this test. And it's not really necessarily that hard a test, but the only trick to know is that you have to apply quite early. So I know some of my colleagues, they haven't heard about this test, and so when they apply to the U.S. universities, it may be too late to sign up and take the test. And so, unfortunately, that can limit their options. So if you know you want to go to the U.S., you just have to make sure you sign up maybe a year in advance to take the test. I'm fully financially covered at Boston University. In general, all the PhD students there are guaranteed some kind of funding package that basically allows them to get a living wage while they're studying there. So that's one of the nice things, I guess, about being at an American, at least a private American university. I don't know the situations everywhere there. But there, if either my tuition is paid for by the university, and then I get money either for TAing, for being a teacher's assistant, which I'm guaranteed money for that, if I cannot get money from a research group. And a lot of people, as they continue on with their studies, join a research group, just get money from the research group that they're working with. So my funding is pretty secure. In addition, I also happen to have some funding from Canada through NSERC. And the nice thing is, for PhD programs, I can take the money that the Canadian government is giving me and actually use it at a foreign institution, which is a nice thing to know about the scholarships that NSERC gives at the PhD level. I think that it's really important that Canadians do think about at least applying to American universities. In general, the U.S. is just so much bigger than Canada, and because I think in most fields the academic community includes both countries, you're just limiting yourself 90% of basically the people you can study with if you don't look to the U.S. And it's certainly totally easy to apply to the U.S. They fully accepting of Canadian students, and we have the exact same funding, sometimes even better funding opportunities there. So the only thing to remember is there is a test that you have to take, so you have to plan in advance. And I think just because there's this silly test that people forget to take, they cut themselves off from basically probably 90% of the opportunities out there. This is a good idea for Canadian students to do.